edition of Deconversion Stories. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Today, I'm chatting with my friend Prince of Atheism.
Hello.
And we're going to get into how he found his way out of religious belief into becoming the atheist activist that he is today. And also just want to let you guys know of a few links that are down below. You can find his link to Twitter. If you want to follow him and get to know him a little bit, you can do so. And also, if you do dig what I do here on the show and you want to help support the show, you sure can by becoming a Patreon if you like, or maybe a one-time donation through my PayPal me, or you can grab me something off of my wish list from the Amazon wish list store or whatever the hell it is. And anyways, so also for anyone who has been a recent deconvertee, we'll say, I do have some websites also linked below, like Recovering from Religion, Secular Therapy, Clergy Project, and Journey Free, for people that are looking for some help with that. So anyways, Prince of Atheism, what I do here is talk to people about why and how they left, and the journey away, and the ups, the downs, all kinds of stuff. So why don't you take us back to as far as you can remember about first having doubts and what led you to becoming the atheist you are today?
Well, I never really had many doubts growing up until, I was raised in the Salvation Army. That was my church, and I never really had any doubts until our church decided to adopt the Answers in Genesis curriculum.
Oh, jeez.
So while I am very I'm very against Answers in Genesis, but myself and a lot of current atheists have them to thank for starting our journey into skepticism. Because it's just such a huge load of BS all at once. That's just it sort of jump-started me into starting to really ask difficult questions, which I had never really considered before. And I just kept getting, I was getting answers that Answers in Genesis would provide, but they didn't ring true with anything I was taught in school.
Right.
And I was taught in school, I was taught that when I go to school and then given a different answer there, that I need to write down the answer that the church teaches me and interject in classes to interrupt the teacher with things like, "Oh, were you there? How do you know that's true?"
And the old "were you there?"
Yeah.
Because they were all there when Jesus was around, right?
Yeah. They were totally there to know about all of these first-hand accounts. But so I actually have a teacher that sort of saved my ass in high school, because she went into all of her tests and adjusted the wording on them so that I was writing what was taught and I didn't have to actually lie on the tests. She said she would write the questions like, what does the scientific community accept as and things like that, to try and avoid fundamentalist Christian people like myself from having to be dishonest, but also saving our grades. I was only one of two people that had to do that, so luckily she didn't have to keep that program running for long, but if she hadn't done that, I wouldn't have graduated high school.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because it was earth science class, and that does not work well with AIG.
No, not really.
So I kept asking more questions, and eventually sort of hit a roadblock where I learned enough about science and epistemology that I had to come to you've probably heard Aaron Ra mention these crossroads that all creationists come to when they are honest, where they can either choose to still be creationist or still be honest.
Right. Yes.
And when I hit that, it was a very awkward moment, because I was teaching one thing in Sunday school. I was teaching how to reconcile scientific truths with what the Bible says, and I almost got kicked out for that. So I was a Sunday school teacher.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Even though that seemed to be something that would be in their favor, they went to kick you out?
Yes, because they were the pastor was very into answers in Genesis, and what I was teaching was how to reconcile actual science with it, like the older creationism. And I strayed from the program there. But we had signed a contract with AIG to teach their curriculum, and they didn't like that too much. That was a very, very awkward conversation with the pastor, essentially being told, hey, you can't teach what the scientists teach because they're not actual scientists. You know, they're teaching the religion of evolution. You're siding with them.
Religion, yeah.
Like, I'm not helping the devil here, you know? It's like, I'm teaching the Bible. I'm just teaching them how to, you know, be honest with it. Because, I mean, it just takes some study to know that AIG isn't quite right. To say the least.
Yeah.
So I sort of eased into it, and then eventually the pastors left shortly after my mother passed away, and then the new ones were very, very much more liberal about things like that, and they don't really care about like the science stuff as long as you get the core message, you know. Mm-hmm. That was last year.
Oh, really? So you're fairly recently out of all this?
Yeah, my atheist birthday
atheist birthday.
Yeah, my atheist birthday is November 19th of last year.
Oh shit! So you're literally just over a year out.
Yep.
Wow.
And actually, September 19th is when I came out publicly on Facebook and left the church.
Of this year.
Yeah, so until September 19th this year, I was in the band, I was in the chorus. Well, what we had as like we didn't really have a chorus, but whenever we had singing events, I would join into that. And I was teaching music, teaching Sunday school, all that stuff, and going straight from that to just coming out as atheist because I couldn't bear teaching the lie anymore.
Right. I hear that quite a bit when people are ex-youth pastors or pastors and stuff.
Yeah. So far, I've lost 2 friends from it. Most everyone else had a lot of support for me, but the 2 that I lost were probably the 2 most important ones.
Why did they give you a reason as to why they didn't want to remain friends with you?
One of them I've lost because I've now cut him out because of what he did. He essentially gave me a phone call. To give you a frame of reference, both of my parents are dead. My dad died like when I was 8. My mother died last year, and
I'm sorry, dude.
Oh goodness, over a year ago. So my mother was. Sorry, let me just start over a bit. I got to rearrange my thoughts a little bit.
Sure.
So one guy, he was basically a mentor to me, but he was also a mentor to my mother and helped raise her because she had a pretty crappy household growing up. So he took her under his wing and helped raise her. And then when we moved up here from Florida, he sort of took me and my brother under his wing. And he acted as the father we didn't really get to have growing up. And when I came out as atheist, he gave me a call and said, your mother in heaven is going to be so ashamed of you. What are you going to say to her when you're burning in hell and you see her crying her eyes out in heaven because you can't be with her anymore? And he just basically was shaming me. And that's unbelievable. It was a knife right in the heart. Yeah. I haven't spoken to him since. I just hung up the phone and just stopped right there. And the other person was sort of like a brother to me, a friend I met on a video game. And he kept arguing with me about basically Bible stuff. He was like trying to give me all these really crappy, not very well tested apologetics arguments, and he got really frustrated and said that I have no purpose for living and I should just end it all.
Yeah, I never understood that. The whole no purpose for living if you don't have, that's just ridiculous.
Like, yeah, my niece and nephew would be reason enough.
Yeah.
If not for everyone else in my life. I have purpose is what you make it. It's not just that one's never really made sense to me, even when I was fervent believer.
Yeah, me either. It's just like, hello, I'm in charge of my own purpose, nobody else.
Mm-hmm. Damn straight. Are there any language restrictions in here?
No.
Okay. Just wanted to make absolutely sure.
It's all good, man. I swear like a trucker or a biker or whatever.
Oh, you look like my trucker customers.
Oh, do I? Well, I've never actually driven a big rig. I pretended to one time, but that was about it. I've driven a tank, though. So there you go.
That's pretty badass.
I was pretty excited, and I'll tell you a little secret, but it won't be that much of a secret because there's people in the chat. But when I lived in Israel, I drove tank there, and my staff sergeant for the boot camp that we were doing kind of had a crush on me. She was a couple years older than me. I think she was 19 and I was 17 at the time, and I was allowed to fuck around and learn how to drive the tank and whatnot, and then we kind of, folks, I lost my virginity in a tank. So there you
go. Wow, that's one hell of a story.
Yeah, I had to jump out, and I don't know what I've done with that picture, but it's around here somewhere. I had to jump out, and I had her aim the gun barrel. I parked it on like a little hill so I could get a good shot of it with the tracks and whatnot, and I had her point the gun barrel right at the camera, and I took a picture of it, and I'm like, that's where I lost my virginity.
I'm gonna have to try and one up you.
A sweet Apache helicopter might do it.
Ah, crap! I'm afraid of heights.
Oh yeah, but it's different when you're in a helicopter like that, man. You won't even notice. Well, how about a nuclear submarine? That would be pretty cool.
Challenge accepted. Give me a couple years to work on that one.
All right.
So, did you have any more questions for me? Because I sort of do better when I'm answering
when
questions.
You're prodded.
Yeah.
So you were saying earlier that you were when you were a teacher in the church. Was that like for Sunday school type stuff?
Yeah, I taught Sunday school. I gave private music lessons, and taught some music classes as well when we had the youth nights. I also assisted with running the charity program once for Christmas. I was one of the kettle coordinators.
Very cool. Charity is always a good thing to get involved with. I'm involved with a few myself here in Vancouver, like the Ronald McDonald House, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and Children's Hospital. So whenever we do stuff through my Lifeblood, which is kind of on a hiatus right now. It's been on there for a couple of years, but I'm getting back together with another partner that I had. I just was over at his place for dinner last night, and we were talking about it because we had this lady that was with us, and she kind of just lost it and fell off the edge of the earth. And so I bought her out. It cost me $10,000 to buy her out, but I bought her out. And I had all these savings going, and then I took out a loan and whatnot. And so now I'm trying to pay back the loan, and yeah, it's crazy. But I had to buy her out because she ended up being useless for doing this stuff. So we're gonna, I think this summer we're gonna boot it back up again and try and do some more shows. And I'm gonna tie in also with the Lifeblood stuff to Atheist Republic and Canadian Atheists, and try and get some big time speakers up here through the production company. So I'm hoping to get Aaron Ra up here. I told him I'd do whatever I could to do that, and Anthony Magnabosco, and quite possibly Matt Dillahunty, maybe Seth Anders, because I'm in touch with all these people now. So maybe even Jamie and Eric from Talk Heathen to come up and do one of their live shows, maybe from our neck of the woods, would be kind of neat. I'll talk to Eric about that. But yeah, so there's a lot of plans coming up with that. But I'm always on board with the whole charity thing.
No, you just listed off like all of my favorite people that helped me out of my out of my fundamentalism.
Well, they're fantastic people, man. So if you ever get a chance to meet them,
especially Matt Dillahunty.
Oh yeah, he's a hell of a nice guy, really nice guy. So yeah, that's where hanging out at his place was like a dream come true for me when I went down there. That's for sure.
I definitely want to get down to Austin.
Oh yeah, it's great. Him and Matt was playing his little ukulele, and Drew, who's genetically modified skeptic, had his guitar out, and we were doing a little tune. All three of us were doing this little tune.
I could bring a trumpet.
Hey, I used to play trumpet when I was a kid.
I am a bona fide music teacher. I have an associate's degree.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's only an associate's, but I mean, I can still teach it.
Come and teach some of the guys in my band how to be better.
I work best with kids.
Just kidding. Chris, if you're watching, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, I think my biggest influence in just learning to ask the right questions to get out of religion was when I started watching. I stumbled upon the Atheist Experience after watching Armored Skeptic for a couple months.
Armored Skeptic, yeah.
Because it was a very gradual progression for me.
What other channels did you find while you were doing that? Like, did you stumble on any Sam Harris or
not Sam Harris. I've never actually really watched all that much of Sam Harris. I've watched one debate of his, and that's pretty much all I've seen of him. I know that he's highly respected, but also in some areas a bit controversial, sort of like Richard Dawkins.
Yes, of course.
But mostly the guys you listed, like Jamie, Eric, Seth Andrews especially, because he's like the lovable uncle of the atheist community.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Just a big old teddy bear.
Well, he's so laid back and well spoken and really easy to get along with. Like when I met him, I was surprised. I'm like, dude, you're just like you are on your show. He goes, well, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't I be? So he's well spoken, and he's got some great material like in his head that he can relay when he does his shows. And he was a guest on my show, and we had a great time. And a lot of people sitting in the chat were like, these are like two of the best voices, like voice type voices that people like to listen to. I guess I have a soothing voice or some shit like that. But believe me, I can get loud and boisterous.
Gravelly. I like it.
Huh?
Your voice is low, rich, and gravelly. I like it.
Low, rich, and gravelly. You should hear me singing. I turned into a shitstorm.
Well, I'll have to hold my tongue then.
Well, I do have music that you can listen to. So if you guys go to all you guys in the chat too, I don't know if all of you have even heard some of it, but I've been noticing since I've been doing these shows and telling people about the music that I've been getting a lot more followers on SoundCloud, which is a good thing, I suppose. So you can go look up Liminus, which is Liminis on SoundCloud, and you'll find most of our professionally done recordings on there. So we got about 5 or 6 more new ones that we're working on for recording. So that should be out probably sometime. I think we're taking our time with it because we're doing it ourselves, and then we'll probably have it professionally mastered through a friend of mine who's in a very well-known band around here. And he'll probably do it for us. So he did, of course, nice and cheap last time.
Yeah, I'm not quite that level of musician. I'm more of just a teacher.
No, that's okay, man.
I can play brass though.
Cool. That's very cool. I've often thought of maybe doing some, in a couple of our songs, I think some of the more bluesy or edged ones could probably use some interesting saxophone type stuff in there, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list, learn saxophone.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Mark just posted the link. Actually, I think it's soundcloud.com. I think it's, and then my name, Neil Bernstein, I think. But anyway, what he posted there should probably get you over there. Yeah, but we got a range of types of music. Like, I didn't want to be one of those kinds of bands that every song sounds the same, like fucking Five Finger Death Punch or Nickelback or something like that.
Hey, I like Nickelback.
Well,
although my music teacher did not like that one too much.
I used to do karaoke. I used to do Leader of Men, which is their first album.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's their first album. It may be their second album. But anyways, it was always the one that I really, really dug of theirs, because I don't know, it struck me. So I used to do that for karaoke, and then I used to do my favorite one that I still do all the time is if you're familiar with the Canadian, one of our probably most popular bands outside of like Rush or Triumph is a band called The Tragically Hip. And if you don't know who they are, guys, seriously check them out. They got some great bluesy kind of rocky sounding music. And one of the songs that I do when I do karaoke, and I for the last every time that I've gone for the last probably 6 years doing it, I get standing ovation. So I must be doing something right. It's called New Orleans is Sinking. It's a very, very cool tune. The first song I actually heard of theirs, actually that's a lie. It's the second song I heard of theirs, because they had one tune that I kind of liked, but was like, I was on the shelf about them at that time. It was called Highway Girl, and it's off their EP that came out before the album with New Orleans is Sinking. And the only reason I even knew that first song, Highway Girl, was because I had a friend that works at the radio station. So he kind of brought it over one day, and we were playing it, and I was like, yeah, I could see this being. And then this album that came out after that, which is called Up to Here, had New Orleans is Sinking, and also had Blow It High Dough, which is like the two intro songs, I believe. Blow It High Dough is really good as well. Oh, there you go. Bionic Dance has a show going now too, if you guys like Bionic Dance. You're getting bored of this. Got to support my friends. She's awesome, man. Bionic Dance is a cool lady.
I got a lot of stuff to look up now.
Are you not familiar with Bionic Dance?
I'm not, no.
Yeah.
Then again, I am terrible with names, so I may have seen it without even knowing it.
It's possible. She does a lot of animation work for her videos, like the intro and outro, and then it's her just talking into a camera and ranting about shit that stupid theists say and stuff like that. So she's very good, though. Yeah. So anyway, when did you start with the music? Like, how old were you when you first started getting into the music thing?
Well, I actually started music in the Salvation Army.
Okay.
It was shortly after my father died. The church wanted to give us something to take our minds off of it, so they thought teaching us music would be a good thing. And oddly enough, it was my first time meeting someone that had different beliefs than us, because the only guy they could afford to hire at our crappy little church in Florida was a Jewish saxophone player to teach us brass instruments in a Christian church. That was fun.
Them Jewish saxophone players.
Yeah, so since I was
one in my family,
I've been taught music.
Awesome.
And it's just sort of stuck ever since.
And you still do it like today?
I do, yeah. I don't really get the chance to play too often now, because I basically just stay in the house and play. So I gotta sort of wait for my siblings to be gone so I don't annoy the crap out of them. But I play when I can. That's
cool. My buddy Justin, who I went over for dinner, he's my old drummer, who was this is kind of a weird story. My original drummer, Colin, is back with us, but Justin was sort of in the in-between when Colin couldn't play anymore, and he had to go do some work stuff, and he eventually got out of that and came back. But Justin has his electronic kit at home that it's like one you just tap and you can have the headphones. But the lady that lives underneath him has been just complaining like crazy, so we had to pack him up and put him in storage, which kind of sucks for the guy, because he doesn't have anywhere to go practice, really. So
yeah,
I told him he could come and drop his kid off at the shack or at the jam space where I have, and he could probably talk to Chris about using one night a week to come out, because it's really not that far. It's all highway from his place, so he could get there in 20 minutes or less, and use an evening just to practice, go ham on the skins.
Yeah, I wanna see if I can find a place that I can do that, because I sort of feel like a caged bird at the moment. But because I'm being offered chance after chance to play with the church band again. They're like, hey, no strings attached. Come back anytime you want. It's like, no, I've been there. I'm good. I don't want to play Christian music for an hour and listen to half an hour of preaching the whole time, surrounded by people that are all going to be pressuring me. No, thank you.
Well,
I know they say no strings attached, but there are strings attached always.
Dawn. Yes, Dawn. He plays with himself, yes. The drums, though, so let's not get carried away, you pervert.
Bye.
That's another friend of mine who was kind of was in the background for quite some time because he he had his daughter to deal with and stuff, and some family issues and stuff. So he kind of took a break from the Twitter and the YouTube and stuff like that. But he's back. He's back in action, and that's my friend Don, who's also known as another freaking atheist. Don, when are you going to get your channel up and going? Let's see if he answers. Because if the Jeopardy music. Because if he does get his channel up and going, he does some great interviews too on his channel. So
I see Critical Cripple in the chat. He's one of my friends there.
Yeah.
Nice to recognize someone.
CC is, I don't think, has missed any of my episodes since, after the first little bit of me getting going. So
yeah, I got some catching up to do on you.
Well, yeah, I have quite a few. I think I have 140 odd now, pretty sure. But my season 2 will be coming to a close pretty quick, about halfway through December. I think my last one is on the, let's see, where am I at here? Last one is on the 16th, where I'll be chatting with the lovely Tao DeMille, who I actually just recently met, just when we were tearing a strip off of a couple of theists. And she's like, I like the way you think. And I'm like, yeah, I could say the same thing. So we kind of became friends. And I said, hey, if you have a deconversion story, I'd love to hear it. And she said, yeah. So that'll be the 16th. And then I'll be end of season 2. I'll take a couple of week hiatus for the holidays. All right. So Dawn says, expect new videos in February. So there you go. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Dawn, go and do that. And then season 3 will kick in January 4th. And I'm excited about this one because my first interview for season 3 on the 4th is Chris Shelton. And Chris Shelton is an ex-Scientologist. And I've yet to speak to someone from that belief system.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I got to watch that one.
Yeah, it should be really good. It'll be a 6 p.m. show on the Saturday.
It's like Mormonism. I've heard so much about it, but I don't know how much of it's true.
Well, we all know Mormonism's all bunk anyways, considering what's his name there, that Smith guy is a known scam artist. So I mean,
yeah, it's kind of odd that I have a Mormon family member that is like aware of all that, but is still a Mormon. I'm just like, how?
Yeah, how could you believe a guy like that?
It's like it's been demonstrated, like that she admits it, and it's just like baffles me entirely.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the guy was selling, was it deeds to pretend gold digging sites or something to people, and then he would fuck off, and there'd be no gold there.
I'm looking for more of those golden plates, I guess.
Yeah, I think he likes the whole gold idea, which is probably where the golden plates came from.
Quickest way to make a buck is to make up a religion.
Yeah. Yeah, you ever see the South Park that they did on that? Dum 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 and all that.
I've never really watched that much of South Park. I remember watching some Halloween episode and the hand puppet one and curse words. That's pretty much my entire repertoire of South Park.
I love that show, man. They're so crazy on there. Nothing is sacred to those guys. They'll go after anything, including Scientology. And what was it? The guy that was doing the voice for Chef, the original Chef, Isaac Hayes, I think it was, is into Scientology. So when they did the episode making fun of Scientology, he quit the show. So they had to introduce a new chef on the show.
You did think you would have expected something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess not. But yeah. Yeah, the South Park on Joseph Smith. Yeah, that was a good one. That's funny as shit. So of the people that kind of like your two buddies there that kind of kicked you to the curb when you decided to leave the faith behind, Do you think that there might be a chance that at some point in the future you could probably patch things up with them, or do you figure they're pretty much lost causes?
I think the one that the one that was sort of a mentor to myself and my mother, probably not. I think he's 79 now,
Mm,
and he has historically been very, very stuck in his ways.
okay.
The other one, we might be able to patch things up, but only if we set the ground rules of deciding not to discuss theology in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
If it's between us, because every single time we've discussed it, we've butted heads. Last phone call ended with him basically screaming bloody murder into the phone, and I was just like, okay,
Wow.
I'm gonna just hang up. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Like I couldn't even understand the words he was saying. He was just shouting.
Maybe he
And
was speaking in tongues.
I think he got in trouble because he was working a job at the time on someone's property, fixing a pool filter for them,
Oh,
and
really?
he apparently got kicked out of that place because he was disturbing the peace, and what woke him up. It's like, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
Oh, oh well.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
he's the one that was screaming.
yeah, nothing you can do to stop that, right?
Yeah. We don't live close by or anything, so it's not like we're going to run into each other. I'm in New York. He's in California.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're an Easterner.
Yep. I'm a dirty Yankee.
I was gonna say I'd offer you a space at my jam space so you could practice your music, but that's a hell of a commute.
It's a
It
bit
would
of a
take you a
hike.
few days there to get there. So,
Yeah. I have a scooter that has a range of 6 miles and goes 12 miles an hour.
okay, it'd take you a really long time to get there. Almost as long as it took the sloths to get to the Ark.
Or well, I was going to say as long as it took the koalas to get to Australia, but they rode on volcanic eruptions. They didn't have to walk.
Right, right. Yeah, they
They
just
were.
climbed on top and then were shot there.
I remember reading that and reading one article like that, and that was when I was like still teaching Answers in Genesis stuff, which is one of my greatest regrets in life, by the way. I
Mm,
taught
yeah.
for AIG. Oh.
What was that like?
um. At the time, I thought I was doing very good. You know, I was like, okay, finally, I get to delve into science and teach kids the truth. And then right after I started realizing what was going on, I'm just like, what have I done? This is just like, holy shit! I've I don't know what it's hard to fathom the damage that I did being manipulated by them. Because like a lot of those kids still believe that stuff. And one of them is
Sure they
having
do.
trouble in school because of it. And I know that it's not like I find it. I'm trying not to blame myself because I was a pawn and I didn't know I was a pawn at the time. But I still feel bad for helping to ingrain that and helping to indoctrinate kids like that.
Yeah, you know what? I've heard that from other people too, but I always say, don't feel bad because you didn't know
I know in my
better.
head that it's not that it wasn't my fault, but I still can't help but it's like if you're in a car accident and you were trying your best, but someone else still ended up getting hurt because of it.
Right. Yeah.
Like even if nothing that happened was in your control, like it just it's hard to try and disconnect that. I know logically that you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. No, I can't remember if you mentioned exactly what it was, but which branch of Christianity were you into?
Well, in the Salvation Army, it's a bit tough to really figure it out. It's not Baptist. I used to always think there was either Baptist or Methodist and Catholic, and I thought that was basically it. But 38,000 denominations. So it's sort of Wesleyan with a military style organization of ranks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sort of just this quasi-military crap. Like we had captains and generals and whatnot. I was
Fancy
a
uniforms.
I was a senior soldier. I still have my uniform. It's got epaulets and everything, and there's different markings on the epaulets to designate your rank.
Right.
But in terms of like the doctrine, it's Methodist, Wesleyan kind of stuff.
Yeah, I always thought that the Salvation Army people were mostly Methodists. I think they started it up, if I remember correctly.
They didn't focus so much on the denomination as they do the individual doctrines.
Right.
Because there is a set of dogma that the Salvation Army uses.
Which is, for our viewers?
Specifically, it's, let's see. I'm looking it up right now so I can get they're basically general ones that are accepted by most Christian churches, but no emphasis on baptism. Like the Salvation Army will teach baptism, but they'll do baptisms, but only privately.
Okay.
Do you want me to read them all off?
Yeah, sure.
So, let's see. I believe these were originally officially made in 1980. Starts off with, we believe the scriptures of the Old and New Testament were given by inspiration of God, and that they only constitute the divine rule of Christian faith and practice. We believe that there's only one God who's infinitely perfect, the creator, preserver, and governor of all things, who's the only proper object of religious worship. We believe there are three persons in the Godhead, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, undivided in essence and co-equal in power and glory. We believe that in the person of Jesus Christ, the divine and human natures are united so that he is truly and properly God and truly and properly man. Side note, when I was originally taught these, I never really understood how contradictory all of these are. Anyway, going on. We believe that our first parents were created in a state of innocency, but by their disobedience they lost their purity and happiness, and that in consequence of their fall, all men have become sinners, totally depraved, and as such are justly exposed to the wrath of God. Nice family-friendly one there.
Yeah, no kidding.
We believe that the Lord Jesus Christ has, by his suffering and death, made an atonement for the whole world so that whosoever will may be saved. We believe that repentance towards God, faith in our Lord Jesus Christ, and regeneration by the Holy Spirit are necessary to salvation. We believe that we are justified by grace through faith in our Lord Jesus Christ, and that he that believeth hath the witness in himself. There's only three more. We believe that continuance in a state of salvation depends upon continued obedient faith in Christ. We believe that it is the privilege of all believers to be wholly sanctified, and that their whole spirit and soul and body may be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. And the last one, we believe in the immortality of the soul, the resurrection of the body, the general judgment at the end of the world, the eternal happiness of the righteous, and the endless punishment of the wicked.
Right. That's the last one is one of the ones, because I remember that being, they had the Salvation Army near where I lived growing up, they had that sign there with all of those listed. And the last one kind of always threw me because I was been into sort of sciencey things ever since I was quite small. I had my first chemistry set. I'm a chemist now, but I had my first chemistry set when I was like 6 years old. Damn near fucking burned myself with some of the shit that was in there. I couldn't believe the stuff they allowed kids to have in those things back in the day. But one of that last one there where it says that's the grace of one, right? Is it that one? The very, very last one. Read that again, because the thought just left my mind.
We believe in the immortality of the soul and the resurrection of the body, general judgment at the end of the world, eternal happiness of the righteous, and endless punishment of the wicked. Right.
It's the body, right? I'm assuming that means that they believe that when you're resurrected for the whole Armageddon Judgment Day, all that shit, What they don't seem to understand is that if the body has been dead for longer than a half an hour, once brain death occurs, it's going to be really tough to bring somebody back. But once cell death occurs, you're not coming back.
Yeah, the workaround for that one is that when you are resurrected, like when you start going to heaven, your physical body is no longer going to be, like your physical body on the earth is no longer going to be anything that you have to worry about. You're going to be given a new body, which they sort of twist it to make the resurrection thing kind of fit with it by saying that you will be given the body that you were always meant to have before sin fucked it up. In, of course, more flowery language and with less expletives.
Right.
So you'll have the body that you were always meant to have.
Why didn't we get it to begin with?
That's a very good question. And that's not a contradiction or anything. It's not like a problem. It's just, not a problem. Because got to work it out in the end.
I think one of my buddies, my buddy Russell, just sent me a Facebook message, kind of popped up down there in the corner. Hey, I got these cards in the mail, because I play a card game called Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I got them too, Russ. Because I subscribe to the Shonen Jump, right? So they send me their promo cards every couple of months.
I just recently got all the God cards, which I know pretty much everybody and my brother has the God cards, but I just finally completed my collection. It feels pretty good.
Are they the original ones from the video game?
No, they're the Shonen Jump editions, but okay. They are the it's Obelisk, Ra, and Slifer.
And they're the blue and the red and the yellow, right?
Well, no, they're the playable versions.
Oh, the playables. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
The toned down versions.
Yeah. Not the ones that are just, this is a badass guy card.
Obelisk was always my favorite, personally.
Same. He's also the most usable.
Yes. I always thought that Ra was probably the hardest one to get out on the field.
The hardest one to really use without just absolutely fucking yourself over.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I went to locals actually this weekend and grabbed the classic Yugi deck box, which has the three different decks that he's known for, with the Exodia, the Dark Magician one, and then the gadgets and stuff.
Nice. So, does it have Valkyrian?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It actually's got a nice foil version too. See, they give you, for each of the decks, they're all common, right? But for each of the decks they give you, the first 5 cards are the foil versions. So let's see if I can dig that shit out here.
I remember I got
the nice foil versions right there with
nice
that
Dark Chaos.
And of course they re-released the God cards, as you were speaking about that.
I like the new artwork on them.
Like this one, the classics, right? They re-released them for that. And of course they give you a Yugi token. So you got your Yugi token too. And of course I sold my original set of the Exodias for about $100 back in the day. So I got a nice little reprint set now. And all of them are the foils. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm very bad at acquiring them. Like, I just recently acquired the last God card, just recently acquired a full Exodia set.
The thing that threw me, I was like, that's kind of a pleasant surprise. If you remember the original anime, when they went to Duelist Kingdom and they were given those special cards in order to enter.
Mm-hmm. Those, what are those, like the holographic link cards or something or other? Those
little key cards. And they actually included them with the Yugi classic decks. So you get a copy of each of them.
Do you get the glove?
No. The Star Glove? No.
I want the Star Glove. I used to have a dual disc, but I broke the thing in half by accident.
I bought one too, but they don't fit me.
Yeah, you just gotta starve yourself for roughly 60 days.
But they gave you a lot of cool bonus cards too, like Electromagnetic Turtle, Dark Renewal, and Black Illusion. So, and they're the new fancy secret rares, the hollow, fucking shiny secret rare ones or whatever.
I remember my old pastor got really pissed at me and another guy in the church having a duel in the church because we were using God cards, and he said that's blasphemous. It's just like it's a children's card game played almost exclusively by men in their 20s to 30s. It's just a card game. We're not actually worshiping Egyptian gods. I don't think Obelisk is actually an Egyptian god.
No, he's not. It's just part of the lore from the anime.
Yeah, it's like, calm down. We're not trying to invite Satan into our lives here. We're just playing a pretty card game.
Besides, Obelisk could kick Yahweh's ass.
You can't be targeted, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh would have to flood the earth for that one.
Yep. But Obelisk is huge. He'd probably just swim. He'd be like doing the backstroke. Whenever you're ready, Yahweh, I'll be here.
Yeah.
Hannibal of Carthage is bragging in the chat right now. I once won 70 chess games in a row. Then my younger brother surpassed me.
Oh, and your buddy called you, let's see, what was it? Nerdy Pirate something or other? Nerdy Biker.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. I'm glad to learn that a lot of people in the atheist community like Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I have something in common with them other than just, lack of belief.
I have Duel Links on my phone, and I have Surus in there, like Surus the Skeptic.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, when we were at Faithless Forum, I did a couple duels with them and hammered them both times. Who's got the hammer now, Surus? But it was just for fun. Plus, we were drinking. So.
Poor Surus. He's lost the hammer.
Mark Caesar wants to know what your church thought about Harry Potter.
Oh, Harry Potter. Well, it really depends on the officer that you have. When I say officer, I mean that's pastor.
Mm-hmm.
The pastors were officers, either lieutenants, captains, majors, etc. And what they thought of Harry Potter, most of my pastors were vehemently against any sort of, well, like you can't have your kids watch Harry Potter, you can't have your kids go trick or treating, anything like that. Any support of witchcraft is, it's evil, it's blasphemous. We even had one pastor one time that taught his kids that wearing black was a sign that you were, like satanically influenced, even though our uniforms were like really dark navy blue. It's like we're almost wearing black, and you're saying that we can't wear black. So like they were, a lot of them are very, very superstitious when it comes to things like that. Like, oh, you can't have the kids watch Harry Potter because then they're going to try and use spells and black magic and summon the devil to.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Because that's real.
However, the pastor that I have now, he's a fan of Harry Potter. He's read the books. He likes it. He actually allowed us to host Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments and
that's cool.
He wants us to host like little Comic-Con type events at the church. I'm obviously not gonna. I might be participating in those ones, but not like the church ones. But he's one of 3 pastors I've met that is open to things like that, and actually, has an open mind without the mind falling out of the head, kind of thing.
Not open, but not too open.
Yeah, and I've met one Salvation Army pastor that's just like I said, that open mind that slid right out there. But most of them tend to be pretty medieval, I think might be an effective word. Sure. Just very Puritan kind of look at things.
I think, though, that's, for a pastor to allow you to do stuff like that many might think is demonic or satanic or whatever, I think that's pretty cool that he's like, he realizes that this stuff is just make believe, and it really can't harm anyone.
Yeah, and him and I have kept in touch since my deconversion. He'll send me some apologist videos. I'll send him some Seth Andrews and Matt Dillahunty.
Beautiful.
I sent him a video of Matt Dillahunty talking about what constitutes as evidence and another thing on epistemology. And I have not heard back from him yet. I think I may have stumped him. I was like, here, if you can understand what he's saying in these two videos, you'll probably understand where I am.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything else, but he does still want to keep in touch with me and talk with me. So that's
good. That's cool.
Yeah. He's a really good guy. He's like one of the reasons I came out as late as I did, going from November to September being an atheist without telling anybody, is because this is the one officer of the Salvation Army I've met that I can actually believe in as a person that has truly good intentions, irrespective of his religious ties. I think that even if he didn't believe, that he would still want to do all of this good, whereas most of the other ones I've met are those kind that say, yeah, if it wasn't for my beliefs, I'd be a murdering rapist kind of things.
Yeah.
Whereas he's just a good guy all around, friendly, happy. He has this method of everyone that he works with of what he calls shooting them with a love gun, which is he refuses to leave them at their post unless he gets them to laugh so hard that they cannot stop smiling. And then he feels comfortable moving on to the next person.
Wonder if he's a Kiss fan, because they have a song called Love Gun.
I would not be surprised if he is. He probably is. He's not one of those Knights in Satan's service kind of guys.
Oh, yeah. Everyone thought that that's what the name meant. That was so funny. I remember that.
Even if it did, this pastor, I do know he's a fan of Black Sabbath.
Nice.
So,
that's my favorite band ever.
So I don't think, even if it did stand for that, he would really care all that much, because he understands at least he has some understanding of what the actual truth is behind those things.
Sure.
Like they're trying to be offensive. So, letting them offend you is sort of just giving them what they want. Just enjoy the music.
Yeah, just enjoy the tunes, because they're fucking Sabbath puts out great music, or did anyways.
Yeah.
Even the Dio years I was a big fan of, but when they had Gillen in there, I think the only tune I really liked of his Sabbath was the Zero the Hero. I thought that was a pretty good song. But yeah, no, Sabbath's my number one band, man. And then number 2 would be Led Zeppelin. And number 3 would probably be Rush.
I'm still trying to find some good music to replace my fundamentalist playlist that I currently have on my phone. Like I used to think that POD was good metal.
POD? They had a couple of good tunes.
Yeah.
Even if they were
exclusively
religious.
What I
was it Payable on Death? That's what their band did for? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they have songs that are supposed to be religious, but really when you look at the lyrics, they don't make a lot of sense. And a lot of cases, right. It's like I've looked at the lyrics and whatnot, and it's like, is this supposed to be religious? I can't really tell. They say they are.
Well, they're religious-esque.
Yeah.
They dabble. Well, we're getting close to the hour here. And of course, we'll jump to an after party afterwards, which reminds me, guys, if you are interested in jumping in here and chatting with Prince of Atheism and myself, let me know on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, I am also on Facebook. I barely ever use Facebook anymore, but you can try messaging me through there as well, and I will send you a link so you can join us. So do you think you might start a YouTube channel?
I'm not entirely sure. I definitely want to start making videos talking about things.
Sure.
Talking about these kind of things and trying to promote positive atheism and
excellent
and all that. Talking about epistemology and things like that. But I don't know if like the way YouTube's been and how it's just progressively getting worse and worse and worse. I might try and find a different platform to do it with, but if because it just seems that with YouTube, it seems like it might be getting even harder as each day goes by for new people to start there.
I think
Just as someone that's not a content creator looking in.
I think YouTube will probably eventually see that what they're doing could be harming them, and they may kind of pull back on some of the issues. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go off of YouTube, but there's also don't forget there's Daily Motion. You can start a channel on Daily Motion, and then there's this new one that I can't remember the bloody name of that somebody mentioned in another show that I was doing. Tony says that YouTube may get a lot better soon. So the whole COPPA thing, whatever the hell that is.
I'm not sure if that's like I've seen some people talk about it, and it seems like they're probably overblowing it quite a bit.
Probably. People tend to do that, over sensationalize.
Yeah, even if that did get put into place, if I have atheism in my name, it probably wouldn't matter. They'd probably be like, oh, we got to keep that away from kids.
Well, they ask me every time I set up one of these things, and then I do my final edits over on the YouTube page itself, where I can add all the tags and the artwork for the thumbnails and stuff like that. They always ask me, is this video suitable for children? And I always check off no, right? Because a lot of the subject matter and the swearing and stuff like that, it's just kids aren't really ready to be listening to stuff like this until they sort of hit that age of reason.
Oh, look in the chat. I could always post videos to Pornhub.
Yeah, that's what Dawn said. Yeah, there's always Pornhub.
Actually, one of my favorite shows, The Last Airbender. I was having a lot of trouble finding an online thing where I could see those episodes, and someone told me that someone uploaded every episode in good quality to Pornhub. And what do you know? It worked. Wow,
awesome. I don't really think of Pornhub and Airbender in the same sort of thought, but
I mean,
maybe the adult.
I'm sure
version.
there's Rule 34. There's probably something on there. There's definitely something on there about that. But I mean, if you want to watch the show, you can technically find it there. Apparently,
well, I just go to watch cartoons online. They have anime and cartoons, so you can just watch both of them there. I've actually been watching quite a few shows on there.
You've watched Dragon Ball Z?
I have, yeah.
Then you can probably tell what my character,
the older one,
thing is themed after.
Yeah, he's saying.
I sort of decided to go with the. I put the A on my forehead instead of the M for Majin Buu because
right.
When I first deconverted, I was sort of like vengeful and let that sort of take over my personality on Twitter. For the first couple months, I was just like really pissed off at the fact that I'd been indoctrinated, and just like I was starting to yell at theists. But then I was starting to understand that that's not the most productive way.
No, they tend to double down when you do that. That's why I really liked when I first discovered Anthony Magnabosco and the whole street epistemology angle. I like that approach. And actually, the next time I'm down in Texas, come this spring for the Faithless Forum, Anthony's going to be around, and I'm hoping, he's like, yeah, we can probably do that. I'm hoping to go with him on one of his ventures, talking to people. Like he took Aaron Ra with him one time as well. Mm-hmm. Like, come on, if you could take Aaron, you can take me. We basically look like the giant, long-haired, scary people. So if you could take him with you, then you take
a
me
nice
with you.
pair of Disney villains.
yeah. Actually, I have a great picture of him and I standing out in front of a noodle house, and it says "Monkeys Welcome," and we're standing right underneath that neon sign. And I thought,
so perfect for Aaron.
Yeah. Exactly. And I thought, you know what? Him and I need to get matching shirts that say Sons of Atheism instead of Sons of Anarchy. So sometime I'm going to have those done up. And I'll
if you want to invite the Prince, I'd be glad to come along.
Well, maybe you can make it down there to Faithless Forum next year.
I need to get a friggin' car. And a license would probably help too.
Well, yeah, but there's also a plane. You can just play it down there. It's cheap, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Nakasuchi, what's going on, brother? Do you know Nakasuchi?
I do not. I don't think.
Well, go find his channel. A Raging Atheist is his
I'm gonna
channel.
have to make a list.
Oh yeah, yeah. But you definitely have to sub to him, man, because he's like, him and I are. I'm at the point now where Naka and I are so similar in our views that I think him and I could do a really good show together too, where we just tear strips off of theists, right? So, because I've got a show that I'll be doing with my friend Randolph, but it'll be a call-in show like the Atheist Experience, where we talk to believers. And then I've got a show that I'll be doing with Godless Mom, Courtney. If you don't follow her on Twitter, I highly recommend it.
Oh, I definitely do.
Yeah, she lives here in BC. I'm about a few hour drive from her, and I go up and see her quite often when I go visit my dad up in Summerland, because she lives in Summerland. So yeah, we're gonna get a show going where we'll be interviewing theists, and we're gonna go like, I think we'll do 1 week we'll do theists, next week we'll do an atheist, then we'll bounce back and forth, sort of thing. So we cover both sides, but we might even get one of each in a show at one point. Where they can kind of talk to each other, and then we'll sort of, ref it or something, see them go at each other, because that might be cool. But then that's kind of, now I feel like I'm tampering on the lines of, oh shit, my computer's going to die if I don't plug it in. So let me plug it in. Plug it in. There you go. But I always feel like I might be trampling on the lines of like what the old non sequitur show used to do. And as far as I know, Steve is going to have that show back up and running at some point, which is really good because, and I was friends with Kyle too. And what he did was really shitty. And a lot of his friends are now like, dude, that was really shitty. And so we can't really trust the guy anymore because he lied to pretty much everybody. And yeah, it was a sad state of affairs when that all happened.
Yeah, it was a bit frustrating. Like, as someone who loved the show, like I never really interacted much with Kyle, and with Steve. Him and I got off on a pretty bad foot.
You and everyone else.
Yeah, he's an acquired taste for sure. Yeah. But I eventually came to highly respect Steve, and then when that whole thing went down, I'm just like, okay, how is this going to get any worse? Oh, that's how. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It just kept getting worse and worse. It's just like, what the hell? Where did that come from?
Yeah, it was a shit show. That's all I can say. But Steve will get it going again, and they'll probably have. I'm pretty sure the little trash panda herself, Cheshire Vic, as a co-host with him, because she basically co-hosts with him on the show that they're doing now. So yeah, and Cheshire is great. She's great people. She's super smart. She's a great artist. Yeah. Anyway, what do you say we wrap this up and jump into an after party? Because I know there's probably a few people that would like to join up and say hello. So.
All right, sounds like a plan to me. If anyone wants to poke my brain about the Salvation Army, I'll tell you what I know.
There you go.
I am quickly learning that there are a lot of things that they didn't tell me.
Right, for sure. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with Prince of Atheism and myself. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat as much as I did. Anyways, I hope you had a good time, Prince of Atheism.
Oh, I certainly did.
Yeah, see, I told you he didn't have to be.
By the way,
huh?
My name is Steve. By the way,
Steve. Oh, you see. He doxed himself. There you go.
I doxed myself like I doxed myself like the second I was able to come out on Facebook and my world didn't explode entirely. It was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome. All right. Well, Steve, thank you for joining me today, man. It's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's been great, and you're not nervous anymore, I hope, right?
Oh no, not at all now.
Okay,
I was nervous just right before, but like once it started, I was just like, okay, just breathe.
Yeah, Neil's a good guy. He won't embarrass me. At least not intentionally, anyways.
No more than you'll embarrass yourself, I think.
Yeah, I embarrass myself all the time. Just sort of, just so people know that I'm human. So I just embarrass the shit out of myself all the time. Anyway.
All right. So who's gonna join us?
Neil Doc Steve. Hashtag Neil Doc Steve.
You monster.
Hello, Bob Smith. What does it say? God bless you all. Oh, God bless you all. Oh, I like it. I like it already. Bye, Angie. Anyway, so let's get into the after party. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Like I always say at the end of these things, I should mention again, I have a link to Prince of Atheism's Twitter down below. It's pretty much the only thing he really does right now. So until he gets a YouTube channel started, which we'll push him in that direction at some point, we'll coax him, and then I'll probably add that when he does. Until then, you can become a patron if you do want to help out the show. You can do a donation through my PayPal, which the link is below as well, or you can join my Discord, which is a fun thing to do, or you can grab something from my Amazon wish list. And Christmas is coming, so keep that in mind. All right, guys, until next time, like I always say at the end of these things, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.